Our next speaker is Len Ferman, Managing Director of Ferman Innovations and former Senior Vice President of Innovation at Bank of America. His presentation is entitled, Innovating a Roadmap for the Customer Experience. Please welcome Len Ferman.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now today I'm going to have two very specific and practical takeaways for you from this presentation. First, I'm going to be showing you in very specific steps how you can apply the principles of innovation to improve the customer experience and solve your key customer problems. I'm also going to be delivering to you a number of skills that you'll take away from this session. You're going to learn how to multitask, how to improve your eye-hand coordination, sharpen your brain power, even impress your friends, family, and loved ones by learning how to juggle. Now, throughout the presentation, I'll be referring to this three-step customer experience innovation roadmap. 3 simple steps: explore, ideate, and evaluate for how you can improve the customer experience through innovation. Now, there's going to be a lot of details behind each of these steps. And in order to help you learn, we're going to be relating all the steps in the innovation process to the steps in learning how to juggle. It's been proven scientifically that you are more able to remember and retain things when you can associate them with something visual. Juggling is very visual. So you're all going to learn how to juggle. And now, this is the point in the presentation where I become a group mind reader. I know what most of you are thinking. You're saying to yourself, did he just say he's going to teach me how to juggle? Not me. I can't even chew gum and rub my tummy at the same time. He's not going to be able to teach me how to juggle. Well, I'm going to tell you the fact of the matter is that everybody can learn how to juggle. You do not have to have extraordinary talent in order to learn how to juggle. You do not need to possess supernatural capabilities in order to learn how to juggle. You do not even need to be exceptionally good looking in order to learn how to juggle. I've had a lot of women tell me I'm actually a prime example of that. I still can't figure out if that's a compliment or not. No, the fact of the matter is, everybody can learn how to juggle if you will simply give it a try, and if you will cut out judgment of yourself and follow my simple steps. Don't faith any of the steps, and you will be able to learn how to juggle. I'm going to throw the ball and the scarf up in the air. We're going to see which one lands first. Here we go. Well, as you see, the scarf loses by quite a bit. But this gives the scarf some great properties. And that is simply that the scarf floats in the air. So it gives us a long time to be able to see what's going on. It's going to be like juggling in slow motion. So it's going to make it much easier for you to visualize what's going on, see the patterns, and be able to learn how to juggle. Now, in just a minute, we're all going to be juggling, so what I need you to do is I need you to stand up. So this is the one presentation where you get to stand up. And I want you to spread out a little bit. So the first thing we're learning right now is that we need to break down complex processes into the most elementary steps. So whether it's learning how to juggle or learning how to improve the customer experience, it's very important for us to break down the process of the most elementary, simple steps. We didn't start by trying to juggle 3 balls. We're starting just with 1 scarf, and we're starting with the most basic thing, just throwing the scarf. Likewise, if we want to improve our customer experience, we need to first understand what are all the basic steps our customers have to go through. We need to map that out, everything from the 0 moment of truth, the pre-purchase decision-making, all the way through to repeat service from a loyal customer. We need to know every step our customers go through, at every channel, what are all the touch points they have. We have to understand what are all those points. Make sure you're seeing the pattern in front of you. The pattern you want to see in front of you is that the scarf is going through this sideways figure 8 pattern. For everybody who remembers 10th grade algebra, that was the infinity sign. So if you're doing your throws correctly, you'll be seeing that infinity sign in front of you. So I want everybody to really see that pattern. And what we're learning here, first of all, is that just like juggling is all about patterns, it's important when we're measuring and analyzing our customer experience data in the explore phase that we recognize the patterns, categories, segments in our data. That's what we're always looking for, what patterns are emerging in our data. And the importance of this is that we then need to identify, well, from those emerging patterns, what are the key customer problems that we're seeing? And this is critical because the whole point of the explore phase for us is to understand what are those key, most important problems that we need to solve for our customers. So now we've come to the very last step in the explore phase. The last thing I do in the explore phase is create what I call themes for ideation. This is where we take all those key problems that we identified, and now we write them up in a way that everybody that's going to be participating in ideation brainstorming can really understand and grasp what is it we're trying to solve. President Barack Obama. How many think Barack Obama is a juggler? Okay, a number of you think Barack Obama is a juggler. Well, the answer here is a qualified yes. You see, if you Google President Obama juggler, you're going to see lots of headlines. CNN reported Obama juggles throwing issues. ABC reported Obama juggles scandals. What we're seeing is President Obama is a juggler, much in the same way that all of us have had to become jugglers in 21st century business life. We're always juggling projects. We're juggling work and family life. So juggling really has become an essential skill. Our second phase of the Customer Experience Innovation Roadmap, the ideate phase. And to begin the ideate phase, I'm going to have you back up on your feet. And since we're in the second phase of our Customer Experience Roadmap, we're now going on to 2 scarves. The trick here is the timing and the rhythm of 2 scarves. So when do you throw that second scarf? What we're going to do is we're going to throw the first scarf across, and when it hits its peak, after you release it, then you're going to throw the second scarf. Then you're going to claw down the first one, claw down the second one. And whenever we catch, we're always clawing straight down. So it's going to go like this. Just watch for a second. Throw right across, throw left across, catch left, catch right. Always clawing straight down. Right, left, right. Now, there's one more thing before you get started that really helps get down the rhythm for 2 scarves. And it's this funny little thing you can say to yourself, or better yet, say it out loud. It goes like this. Crisscross applesauce. When you say crisscross applesauce, it gives you the perfect timing for 2 scarves. Now crisscross applesauce may sound funny to say. Crisscross applesauce might take you out of your comfort zone, but it's exactly what we need to do when we're ideating. So make sure I've already seen a couple of you doing this. Make sure you are not doing crisscross sauce apple. Okay? Don't reach across to catch, because if you end up in this position, you can't make another thrust. That's not going to work when we get to 3. So what do we learn here from crisscross applesauce? Well, first thing we're learning is I have you using both of your arms, all of your arms. Similarly, you need to include all parts of your organization when you are brainstorming. Sometimes I'll hear stories about, well, we took the customer experience team and we went off-site and we came up with lots of great ideas. But that doesn't work. It doesn't work for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you just take the customer experience team or the marketing team and go off-site, you're going to generate a narrow set of ideas, because all of those people, by definition, had a similar background. That's why they got into marketing. They all think pretty much the same way. When you're ideating, you need to have as many different viewpoints as possible. That's why it's very critical when you have a brainstorming session to include as many people as you can from different parts of your organization, because people with different backgrounds are going to approach problems differently. They think about how to solve problems differently, and therefore they're going to come up with different ideas, and they're going to help build different ideas. When one person comes up with an idea, somebody with a different background is going to latch onto that idea, sparks going to go up in their head, and they're going to add onto that, build onto that in a way that wouldn't have happened if you only had people from a single department. The other advantage of including all parts of your organization is it creates a spirit, a feeling of inclusivity in the innovation process. There's nothing worse, again, than just going off-site with just the marketing team. They come back, they're all jazzed up, they've got these great ideas, but everybody else in the organization becomes resistant to them because they don't understand where these ideas came from. If you want to be a great juggler, you have to learn how to balance an object on your chin, or, better yet, on your nose. Now, the reason, it's hard for me to talk this way, the reason I'm balancing this on my nose is because I want to be able to talk to you, and it's much easier actually for me to talk to you while I'm balancing it on my nose than on my chin. But I want to be able to explain why balance is important to being a great juggler. And that is, in order to make those accurate throws, which was our first secret, you have to be able to keep your body in pretty much perfect balance. And you can only learn perfect balance when you can balance an object on your chin or on your nose. So that's why balance is so important. Now, I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to balance this razor-sharp machete on my nose. Now, as I'm balancing this on my nose, I want to tell you, you do not need to balance a razor-sharp machete on your nose in order to be a good juggler. I'm just doing this for your entertainment. Also, balance is very important in balancing different methods of ideation. There's no one method of ideation that's going to get you all the ideas you need. And there's 3 different methods of ideation that I want to introduce. First, in the middle is the traditional in-person brainstorming or ideation session. Many of you may have been part of one of these sessions. Brainstorming sessions can be great if they're run well, if they're moderated well. Now, I'd also like to supplement that on the bottom left with telephone ideation sessions. Telephone sessions are typically shorter, typically like 60 to 90 minutes. The advantage of them is a couple of things. First of all, I recommend no more than 15 to 20 people in an in-person brainstorming session. And in large companies, that's not enough to include all the people that you really want to get their ideas from, all the different departments. So because you can't include everybody you wanted to in your in-person session, you can do a series of telephone sessions. Now, I also strongly suggest you have some type of email or intranet suggestion box where you're soliciting ideas from as many people as possible in the company. Again, the value of this here is creating that spirit of inclusivity. When you reach out to people and you give them the opportunity to participate in the brainstorming session, you not only make them feel good about themselves, you help to drive cohesiveness in the company around whatever solutions come out of this process. Their input was solicited. So those are the different methods of brainstorming that you need to balance in the organization. And now I'm going to show you my very first juggling student who performed perhaps the most dangerous trick ever performed on live national television last summer on America's Got Talent. He is balancing a Molotov cocktail. And that is actually my son, David Ferman, who performed on America's Got Talent last year. Actually was my very first juggling student. So all of you learning how to juggle today are my newest juggling students. I expect to see some of you on America's Got Talent next year. Right, now I'm going to go on to the third myth about juggling. The third myth about juggling is that jugglers just love to juggle strange objects. As a juggler, I get this question all the time: what is the strangest thing you ever juggled? And I laugh whenever I hear this question, because in no other field do you get a similar type question. For example, being down here in South Florida, nobody ever asks LeBron James, do you like to shoot baskets with chainsaws? I've never heard that question before. And if you think about it, it's really a wild and crazy question, and it gives us a great lesson for ideation, and that is, you really have to encourage wild and crazy ideas when you're brainstorming it. I can't underscore this enough. So now we're ready to go to our final phase, the evaluate phase. And in the evaluate phase is our third phase, so we're going to be juggling with 3 scarves. The trick here is focus. There's going to be a lot going on. There's going to be a lot of extraneous information. You're going to see scarves flying all around you, not just your own scarves, but other people's scarves. The trick to doing this is to focus just on making 3 good throws. Don't even think about catching them. If you make 3 good throws, they're going to be right there, and you'll be able to claw them down right in front of you. You'll be able to catch them. Just think about making 3 good throws. Right, left, right. If they're right there, you'll be able to catch them. So give that a try. Throw right, throw left, throw right. Just think about making 3 good throws. The first thing we have to do when we're in the evaluate phase is now we're taking the gloves off. We're not ideating anymore. We're taking these hundreds of ideas that we just generated in brainstorming, and now the first thing we need to do is kind of clean that up, narrow the ideas we have down to a more manageable set that we're going to continue through the evaluate process. So the first thing we do is we filter out the extraneous information, filter out the out-of-scope ideas. And the last of the 3 secrets is what I call smart practice. And to demonstrate smart practice, I'll be juggling with 4 balls and 5 balls. So I've got 4 balls here. Start juggling with them. And if anybody is looking very astutely, you'll notice I'm actually only juggling 3 of the balls. One of them is still staying in my left hand. Now I'm going to quickly switch to 4 balls. I actually can juggle 4 balls. Okay, so this, well, again, I just told you before, there's a name for everything in the juggling world. And what you just saw here is called a drop. Okay, so this is four-ball juggling. Now, a lot of people can't figure out what's going on in four-ball juggling. Are the balls crossing, or are they not crossing? I'm going to just do something visually here so you can see what's going on. I've separated my arms. You can see what's going on as I'm juggling two balls in my right hand, two balls in my left hand, and they're never crossing. So the four-ball pattern is different than the three-ball pattern or the three-scarf pattern. They're not crossing. Now, that's the traditional four-ball pattern. But there's a much tougher four-ball pattern, the very hardest four-ball pattern there is. For some reason, it's called the wimpy pattern. I don't know why. I didn't name it. But in the wimpy pattern, the balls actually do cross. And if you do it well, it gives the illusion that the balls are actually going right through each other. It takes many years of no social life to learn the wimpy pattern. I like having a social life. So when I was trying to learn the wimpy pattern, I employed smart practice, constantly analyzing every throw. And if I make some bad throws, like I was trying to demonstrate a bad throw there, if I make some bad throws, I got to analyze what's going on. So I'm throwing the left one way too high. So I've got to work on bringing that left hand throw down. And when I get it to where it's going good, I've got to cultivate this, repeat it over and over again until it's into my muscle memory. So that's what smart practice is. I visualize what the pattern should be. I analyze it. I make changes if I'm making mistakes, and then I try to cultivate the good pattern. I try never to settle for second best. If I'm throwing them like this all the time and I can do it, that's no good, because I need to get it into this pattern to make the wimpy pattern look the way it's supposed to, where they're just barely crossing each other. So in five balls, every ball is crossing at its peak in a spot that's about 2 feet above my head. I've got to analyze what's going on and try to get those throws to the point where they're going through that one peak. This has a lot of implications for us in evaluating ideas. The first thing is that we need to evaluate all our ideas using carefully designed criteria. And the criteria is going to be different depending on what your goals are in the project, what you're trying to solve for, just like the criteria was different with 4 balls and 5 balls. So when you start the evaluate phase, you need to come up with a common, agreed-upon set of criteria. How are you going to be evaluating each of your ideas? Then you have to identify who are going to be the evaluators. And I recommend you have both internal subject matter experts evaluating your ideas, as well as customers. It's very critical at this phase to also include customers in the process, have them evaluate the ideas. What we did before with the flash, that's a major milestone, but that's not quite juggling yet. In the flash, we threw 3 objects up, we caught them one at a time, one cycle. One cycle does not give you the mastery of 3 objects. In juggling, you're considered to have mastered it if you can do 2 cycles. That means 6 catches, 2 cycles of 3, throwing them one at a time. That's going to look like this. Throw, throw, catch, throw, catch, throw, catch, throw, catch, throw, catch. When you get to 6 catches, you are an official juggler. The evaluate phase is what I call in my practice an idea tournament. It's a process simply of starting with hundreds of ideas that came out of brainstorming, bringing them through this filtering process where you're evaluating, cultivating, and prioritizing, and ending up with your final few ideas that will be your initiatives for development. So visiting our Customer Experience Innovation Roadmap for the last time, we've now finished all the steps: explore, ideate, and evaluate. And I'd like to just take you back through a summary of the key takeaways from each of the phases. So in the first phase, the explore phase, we related that to juggling just with 1 scarf. And the key things we learned there was we need to understand our customer journey, understand end-to-end all the touch points that our customers have with us. And then we need to be able to accurately measure and identify the key customer pain points, challenges, and sum all that up at the end of the explore phase with our themes for ideation. What are we going to take out to all of our employees and say, hey, we need to generate ideas around these themes? Then we got into the ideate phase. We related that to juggling with 2 scarves, our second phase. And we learned that we need to enable all employees to contribute ideas. We utilize and balance a variety of brainstorming methods and go for quantity and always encourage those wild and crazy ideas and maintain that risk-free environment. And finally, in the evaluate phase, the third phase, we juggled with 3 scarves and we went through our 3 pillars of evaluate, cultivate, and prioritize. Well, now for my final trick. This stool has balanced me very nicely, and I told you all about the critical importance of balance in the ideate phase. So I'm going to balance this stool, I'm going to return the favor, balance this stool on my chin. Thank you very much. You've been a great audience.